Welcome, mad scientists and monster enthusiasts, to another shocking episode of on Quaver TV. Tonight, we're digging up the electrifying tale of one of horror's most enduring creations, Frankenstein's monster. From the sparks of Mary Shelley's imagination to the latest digital incarnations, we're tracing the path of this patchwork behemoth through literature, film, television, and beyond. So strap yourself to the nearest operating table, keep your lightning rods at the ready, and prepare for a monstrous journey through the legacy of Frankenstein's creation. Our tale begins on a dark and stormy night in 1816, at the Villa Diodati near Lake Geneva. It was here that 18-year-old Mary Shelley, in the company of literary giants Lord Byron and Percy Shelley, conceived of the story that would become Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus. Published anonymously 2 years later, Shelley's Gothic novel introduced the world to Victor Frankenstein and his unnamed creation, a creature that would capture the imagination of generations to come. In Shelley's original text, the creature is far from the groaning, bold-necked behemoth we've come to know from later adaptations. Described as having yellow skin, watery eyes, and black lips, Shelley's monster was eloquent and philosophical, grappling with questions of existence, morality, and the nature of humanity. The novel's creature commits several murders, including Victor's younger brother William, his best friend Henry Clerval, and his bride Elizabeth. However, it's the psychological horror and existential dread, rather than the body count, that made Shelley's work a landmark of Gothic literature. The monster's journey from page to stage began in 1823 with Richard Brinsley Peake's play, Presumption, or The Fate of Frankenstein. This adaptation set several precedents that would influence future portrayals, including making the monster mute and introducing the character of Fritz, Drive, Frankenstein's assistant. Throughout the 19th century, numerous stage adaptations followed, each putting their own spin on Shelley's creation. But it was in the 20th century, with the advent of cinema, that Frankenstein's monster truly came to life in the public imagination. The first known film adaptation was Edison Studios' 1910 short film, Frankenstein, which depicted the monster's creation as an alchemical process rather than a scientific one. However, it was Universal Pictures' 1931, Frankenstein, directed by James Whale and starring Boris Karloff as the monster, that would define the creature's image for decades to come. Karloff's portrayal, with the flat-topped head, neck electrodes, and heavy-lidded eyes, became instantly iconic. The film's success spawned a series of sequels, including Bride of Frankenstein, 1935, and Son of Frankenstein, 1939, each expanding the monster's story and cementing his place in the pantheon of Universal monsters. These films, while tame by today's standards, still managed to shock audiences with their gothic atmosphere and the monster's acts of violence. The original film's drowning of Little Maria became particularly controversial, even if it was more implied than shown. As Universal's monster cycle continued, Lon Chaney Jr. and Bela Lugosi both took turns donning the monster's makeup in The Ghost of Frankenstein, 1942, and Frankenstein Meets the Wolf Man, 1943, respectively. These later entries increased the action and body count, with the monster often rampaging through villages or squaring off against other iconic monsters. Across the Atlantic, Britain's Hammer Film Productions began their own Frankenstein series in 1957 with The Curse of Frankenstein, starring Peter Cushing as the Baron and Christopher Lee as the creature. Hammer's take was gorier and more explicit than Universal's, with the monster's appearance more grotesque and decayed. The Hammer series focused more on Frankenstein himself than his creation, but the monster remained a crucial element, racking up an impressive body count across the franchise. Throughout the 1960s and 70s, Frankenstein's monster appeared in a variety of films, from serious horror to comedy. Notable entries include I Was a Teenage Frankenstein, 1957, Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein, 1974, and Andy Warhol's Flesh for Frankenstein, 1973, each offering their own unique take on the creature. In 1994, Mary Shelley's original vision was more faithfully adapted in Kenneth Branagh's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, with Robert De Niro as the creature. This version attempted to return to the philosophical underpinnings of Shelley's novel, presenting a more sympathetic and articulate monster, albeit one still capable of terrible violence. The 21st century has seen Frankenstein's monster continue to evolve on screen. Van Helsing, 2004, featured the creature as part of a monster mashup, while I, Frankenstein, 2014, reimagined him as an immortal caught between warring factions of gargoyles and demons. These modern interpretations often amp up the action and body count, with the monster battling hordes of enemies in spectacular fashion. But Frankenstein's monster hasn't been confined to the silver screen. Television has embraced the creature in various forms, from the sitcom, The Munsters, 1964-1966, where Herman Munster was a lovable version of the monster, to more recent series like Penny Dreadful, 2014-2016, which offered a dark, sensual take on the classic monster myths. In the world of animation, Frankenstein's monster has appeared in everything from children's cartoons like Scooby-Doo to adult-oriented shows like Mary Shelley's Frankenhall. These adaptations often play with the monster's image and concept, sometimes portraying him as a misunderstood gentle giant, other times as a terrifying force of destruction. The realm of video games has also provided fertile ground for Frankenstein's monster to terrorize new generations. The creature has appeared in various fighting games, including Darkstalkers and Castlevania: Symphony of the Night, where his immense strength and near invulnerability make him a formidable opponent. In the Fallout series, players can encounter hostile creatures called Frankensteins, clearly inspired by the classic monster. More recently, the survival horror game, Frankenstein: The Monster's Wrath, allowed players to experience the story from the monster's perspective, combining elements of stealth, combat, and narrative choice to bring Shelley's creation into the interactive realm. Comic books and graphic novels have also embraced Frankenstein's monster. DC Comics has featured a character named Frankenstein, an intelligent version of the monster who works as a secret agent. In the Marvel Universe, the monster has appeared in various forms, often crossing paths with superheroes and other supernatural beings. The influence of Frankenstein's monster extends far beyond direct adaptations. The concept of the mad scientist and their creation has become a staple of science fiction and horror, influencing everything from The Island of Dr. Moreau to Jurassic Park. The ethical questions raised by Shelley's novel about the limits of science and the nature of humanity continue to resonate in an age of genetic engineering and artificial intelligence. In popular culture, Frankenstein's monster has become shorthand for any misunderstood or mistreated creation. The term Frankenstein is often mistakenly used to refer to the monster rather than its creator, a testament to that creature's enduring impact on the public imagination. As we stitch together the final pieces of our monstrous tale, it's clear that Frankenstein's creation has transcended its origins to become a true cultural icon. From the gothic horror of Shelley's novel to the latest CGI-enhanced blockbusters, the monster has adapted and evolved, always reflecting the fears and fascinations of the era that resurrects him. So, dear viewers, as the lightning flashes and the laboratory equipment hums with unholy light, we invite you to explore the many incarnations of Frankenstein's monster. Why not make it a Monster Mash marathon? Fire up your streaming service of choice, pick your favorite Frankenstein flicks, and don't forget to crank up our latest album, Highway Haze Beats for the Blaze. Whether you prefer the classic Universal monsters, Hammer's gothic gore, or modern reinterpretations, there's a Frankenstein for every taste. As Mary Shelley's creation has shown us time and time again, sometimes the most monstrous things in this world are not the creatures we create, but the way we treat them. So the next time you see that iconic flat-top silhouette, remember, behind every monster is a story of humanity, twisted by fear and loneliness into something terrible and wonderful. Until next time, mad scientists, keep your lightning rods charged, your body parts fresh, and remember, in the world of Frankenstein, life begins at death. Good night, and may your creations always rise to the occasion.